for the touchdown. Wow.
Let me ask you this, Steve, and ask you everyone that is watching. Which wide receiver group in this Super Bowl 60 matchup are you taking? Seattle or New England? The interesting part about this, Steve, with both quarterbacks, they're the only two quarterbacks this season that completed over 50% of their deep shots down the field. The only two, Sam Darnold, Drake May. I think explosive plays are going to be important because these defenses are playing great.
Yes.
So let's get into it. In terms of these two groups, who do you want to start with?
I love both of these wide receiver groups because they all bring something different to the table. They're utilized differently. Their quarterbacks play at a different level at different times. And so you tell me.
Okay. I got you. We'll go with Seattle first because I believe they have the clear-cut best receiver out of any of these in the entire.
I agree with you.
He led the NFL in receiving. Make sure you go watch our entire breakdown of Jaxon, Smith-Njigba heading into this Super Bowl. It's outstanding. This is a team that is 8th in total offense, 3rd in scoring, 8th in passing, 16th on third down, 6th in yards per play. Obviously, Sam Darnold has liked to take those deep shots. He's had issues turning the football over sometimes, but it is Jaxon, Smith-Njigba that makes this entire passing offense go. 44% of their passing yards went to JSN.
Yeah, well, Sam Darnold, obviously everybody's talking about, the 4 picks. But let me just tell you something. Just in case people don't know, there's generally averaging two quarterbacks each year generally have a 4-pick game. Sam Darnold had one 4-pick game. He's thrown 4+ interceptions in a single game in 2024. He's in good company because over the past decade, several notable quarterbacks have done the same, including Brock Purdy in 2023, Jalen Hurts in 2023, Lamar Jackson in 2021. And let me say, Lamar Jackson is rare because he actually won the football game as well.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Sam Darnold in 2025, and then Jared Goff in 2024. But there is a guy who's on here who has thrown 4 picks at least 5 times. And that is Matthew Stafford.
I was going to guess Stafford.
So I'm telling you, success, you're going to have challenging moments. Teams' goals are to shut you down. I love the way Sam Darnold is playing football, taking care of the football, progressing, going through his reads. He shows his ability to check out of bad plays, to avoid them becoming worse. Mm-hmm. But his receiver core is really orchestrated and put together very well. So we go through all of them. Not all these guys have contributed on a consistent basis because of injuries or being hurt. They got a kid, Cody White. He's not playing a lot. Tory Horton, he ended up
you like Tory Horton, by the way. You liked him.
Yeah, I know. He was showing some flashes. Mm-hmm. His last game was week 9 where he's contributed. Mm-hmm. His average depth of target, though, 16.5. So that's telling me he's the deep threat guy. But Jaxon Smith-Njigba, he is their number 1 wide receiver. He has become Mr. Everything, right? He lines up everywhere. Mm-hmm. But one of the cool things about where he lines up everywhere is normally you would think, especially if you're watching his highlights, you go, man, that dude's in the slot all the time. That's not true. Mm-hmm. He's out wide 74% of the time. He's not in the slot. He's in the slot less than 25%. However, 89 first downs, average depth of target, 8.4. So they're saying, in my opinion, they're saying, hey, look, here's your role. Let's go make a play. Mm-hmm. We're going to give you every opportunity to do so. And average targets out of these 19 weeks and heading into the Super Bowl, almost 10 targets a game. When you are playing football and you know.
How much would you have loved that, Steve?
Oh, bro, I ain't catch it. I'm not going to. 10 is the least I'm going to get. Mm-hmm. When you walk, it makes you practice differently. It makes you study differently. And what I mean by study different is it's not you put in the extra. you just know that you have so many more opportunities. And your offensive coordinator is going to put you in a great position. So now, not just paying attention to the starting corners, but because Jaxon and Njigba lines up in the backfield, he lines up in the slot, he does variations, that now I need to watch the linebackers. How do they cover? Because my OC, he's going to put me in that position. He's going to put me in a position where I get to run a route against a linebacker. I take that all day.
100%. Because I don't think they're going to have Christian Gonzalez follow him around the field. They don't do that. Now, I would say this. We have seen the Patriots in the past just do something completely different when the Super Bowl comes around. I remember one year, was it against McVay? They played man all year, and then the Super Bowl rolls around, they play zone the entire game. So I do know New England does change things. But that hasn't been the case that Christian Gonzalez would follow him around. It seems like he matches up, and I want you to, like, on Drake London types, on bigger receiver types. That's not JSN. Do you think that's a good match? I mean, he's one of the better corners in football, honestly.
Yeah, I
but
think
Carlton Davis is a very good number 2 as well. They've just had cat coverage most of the season. Is the way they've kind of done.
I don't know. I don't really know if he can't. Right?
No, I didn't say can't. I just mean, like, does it fit his strengths? What JSN does.
I don't think it fits his strengths because you look at the way Gonzalez plays. He loves to get up front. He loves to get active. They do a really good job of putting JSN on a move, so you can't really get a clean shot on him, create a lot of free access. So you have that. But then also, too, right, Cooper Kupp, you got the savvy veteran who primarily lines up outside, out wide, 32 first downs, average depth of target, 11.3. He is the intermediate game. He's the guy that you got to keep your eyes on. And then Rashid Shaheed, he's a primarily vertical threat, right? He's just splash play guy. He uses his speed to vertically threaten to keep the defense on their heels. He's recorded 22 first downs and average depth of target 8.4, right? So he's the guy that you got to watch out for. If JSN is lined up in the backfield and Rashid is in the slot, then he comes over, lines up in the backfield, man, there's trouble. You know, sound the alarm. See something, say something. And
Listen,
so
he's my X factor, Steve. In all honesty, if there's so much attention to JSN, and you have to, the reason they made the trade is because, hey, I know that this guy is our passing offense, and we're going to move him all over the place, and guess what? He's going to get his 10 targets a game. But you can't focus too much because we have 4.3 speed that can get down the field. And one explosive play changes everything. We'll get to it, but that's how New England has won a lot of games, is in their explosive plays. And when I looked at it, 14 career touchdowns of 40 yards or more, including the playoffs, most of any player since 2022. And then the other one, I'll just say it, if anybody likes to kind of think about these things on Super Bowl Sunday, we have had an in-season acquisition, mid-season, like he was, brought over in a trade from New Orleans, score a touchdown in each of the last 5 Super Bowls. Is that going to be Rashid Shaheed? I just think that is something you can't ignore him, right? Yeah. Even though the targets have gone like this.
Listen, you're a fool if you ignore him.
Yeah.
You're definitely a fool because he's going to get open. You take your eyes off of him and let him slip behind the defense, man, he's going to make you pay. But here's a high-energy player who's excelling at his assignments. Jake Bobo.
This is your guy.
His route running demands respect as a legitimate target. Now, he only has 3 first downs, right, throughout the whole year. But he's getting dirty in the run game. Average depth of target, 8.4. He comes up with a big play, generally when you don't think he's going to make it. Clint Kubiak does a really good job of keeping the defense guessing. Mm-hmm. You think and may assume how JSN is going to get the football, but you can't really stop it.
Mm-hmm. You
so
can't.
I find it's going to be a great cat and mouse game. I think this game is not going to be. I think this game is going to be kind of like what the Seahawks and the Rams game was, where a lot of high explosive plays, really good defense. Mm-hmm. Well, Steve, they had, you had 60-something points. How is that good defense? Well, that defense was holding on because you're going against some explosive talented offensive players with a equal mind by the play callers on trying to get everything done the right way, that you just create problems, right? Both of these guys, Clint Kubiak and Josh McDaniels, do a really good job of scheming up things. They have a wrinkle. They have a tactical wrinkle that you need to be aware of, that they planted that seed, they covered it, they were nurturing it, took it in the sun when it was freezing, took it inside, put the plant lamp on it. They did everything is right. Now the Super Bowl's here, and guess what? Ooh, we got a little something poking out the top. And now we got something sprouting. We've got it going, and now all of a sudden you expect something's going to happen offensively in this game that is going to blow everybody's mind. That one or two plays, and we saw it against Seattle and the Rams, it was one or two plays you just go, holy smokes.
I think you're exactly right. And the fun part is this is the first year with each one of these quarterbacks playing with these offensive coordinators. That's been the very, very interesting aspect of it. I'll say this real quick before we get over to New England. I think the fatal flaw, I wrote this down, for something that could slow down this Seattle group, their interior line is not outstanding. And man, has Barrymore and Milton Williams been outstanding in the middle of that defensive line. So making sure that Sam has the time for some of this to happen, I think is big. And by the way, Kareem Jackson, friend of the show, going to be jumping on here during draft time, breaking down some DBs. We were watching pregame together, and he was like, by the way, do not sleep on Carlton Davis. That is a very good number 2 at the corner spot opposite of Christian Gonzalez. Carlton Davis a very good year. Okay, over to New England. We're 4th in passing this season, 2nd in scoring, 3rd in total offense, 6th on third down, 2nd in yards per play. Unbelievable stats for Drake May in just his 2nd season in the NFL. Obviously, the trust factor to me, Steve, when I talk to people in New England, is a big part of this. People go, how is he doing this with Kayshon Boutte and Pop Douglas? And I was told, dude, he threw with them in Charlotte all summer long. Like, these guys have legit chemistry in the way that they operate. Let's get through this group. I'm not sure where you want to start. Maybe it's Diggs, maybe it's one of those guys, but you tell me.
I'm going to start at the quarterback position, same way that I did with Sam.
What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house, it's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action, so when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the US, download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
The quarterback position, Drake May, his first year in this offense, right? Not his first year overall. I know he's in the second year. His first year in this offense with Josh McDaniels, where Josh McDaniels' offense obviously is significantly different than what he played in last year. So the responsibilities and what he's asked to do has been really good. He's done a really great job during the regular season. What I believe happens to young players, especially who have this much success in the regular season, you have to open up the playbook a little bit more going into the playoffs. And by opening up the playbook a little bit more, those like teams that you're playing, Denver, who's Houston, they're in the top half of the league in defense.
So top 5. I mean, they're up
so
there.
You go, okay, we can't really just go with our normal stuff. We're not playing the New York Jets. We're not playing them. We're not playing a depleted secondary with the Buffalo Bills. We're not playing the Miami Dolphins, who are in chaos this last regular season. We're playing some teams that we have to develop some new wrinkles. We have to take but here's what happens. When you take a different look, and then now you have a different reaction by the defense, it feels like you're taking a step back. But it's just the fact that your quarterback is a little bit slower because he's processing what's going on because it's a new wrinkle. The defense also is new. What you're going against, you haven't seen or you've been alerted, hey, watch this. So all of a sudden, your spidey senses are there and you're not playing comfortably and you're not really knowing exactly what they're going to do. So there's a little bit of hesitation. And I think that's one of the big things that we've seen out of Drake May the last couple of weeks that makes some fans go, oh, he's not that good. I think it just has to do with when you open up the playbook, you put a little bit more on someone and you heighten what the risk and reward is. Hey, man, everybody get a little tight. Everybody second guess and make sure. And look at how he played against Denver. In Denver, snowy conditions. You heard him on the mic, though. You said, gosh.
Dude, I was about to ask you about that.
Yeah, I can't do anything with that. And
this is really hard, man.
They released that because at some point you couldn't even see.
No. I was standing midfield after that game, and I'm standing there. I'm bundled up, and I'm like, the wind goes this way, then it comes back. You look this way, it's coming at you this way too. And then it's these little flakes, and you couldn't see anything. So he has played 2 of his playoff games in those type of conditions. Yep. The other one against Houston was in the snow as well. I think with Drake, Steven, I think that's a great point in what you've made and what we've seen. And I'm kind of curious what Josh does over these next 2 weeks because, man, this is a brilliant offensive mind. When I was standing on that New England sideline before the AFC Championship game, I was like, hey, they have Diggs, who's in year, 11? They have Pop Douglas. They have Kayshon Boutte. Like, how is this working? And they were just like, Josh. Like, Josh makes this work, but also Drake has an outstanding deep ball with touch. Yeah, and they are not scared to throw it against anybody. I think they're the only ones that are like, we'll go deep against Stingley. Like they and I think they'll do the same thing against these corners that Seattle has. It has been 13 years now that Josh McDaniels has had a top 10 offense as an offensive coordinator. That's outstanding consistency. And what Drake has done has been really, really good. I'm kind of curious what your take is on his deep ball while I'm there. Just, it looks like
it looks good.
The one he loves to look for that way.
Listen, ball placement is great. Kayshon Boutte has made a spectacular living this year coming out as really that deep ball threat, but let's just jump into it, man.
Let's go.
So here's where I'm going to start some controversy and jump in the comments. Tell me, am I right? Tell me, am I wrong?
I'm
but
ready.
This is how I see it based on statistics and understanding their roles. Stefon Diggs is the number 1 wide receiver.
Okay.
Right? He's their number 1 guy. Number 2, Kayshon Boutte. Okay. The number 3 guy, 3A, Mack Hollins.
I'm not arguing
3B is Pop Douglas.
Okay.
And then obviously you got the young guy, Kyle Williams, coming up. He's doing a really good job. They love this young guy. However, when it comes down, it's a numbers game, right? Yep. When it's a numbers game, he doesn't play a lot of special teams. But over the last couple of weeks, the team has sustained some injuries, right? Where they had Mack Hollins wasn't able to go out there and play. So those injuries has given him an opportunity to show his talent and earn more playing time. And Vrabel's all about earning more play time. There was a play came out where Stevenson had a run. Pop was open, beat his guy off the – I'm talking about – I'm not Pop. Kyle Williams beat his guy off it was a slant route. Just boop, boop, crossed his face, didn't get it. Ball was thrown to Stevens. He comes back out and he does the block and ends up Stevenson goes for 60-something yard gain. So that's just showing you right there. Kyle Williams is playing out wide 89% of the time. He only has eight first downs, but average depth of target is 18, right? Almost 19 yards. So when we go to Stefon Diggs as a number 1 guy, 54 first downs. We know that, right? Average depth of targets, 8.3 yards.
Okay.
116 targets. So they're feeding him. He's the chain mover. Now, what's interesting, he's in a slot right now 52% of the time. You go back in Buffalo when he was the guy, when he wasn't older, out wide, 63% of the time. And the following year, 65% of the time. So what Josh has done is taking and understanding. I have a player who's excel. He's savvy vet. He knows how to run routes. He's up there in age. However, Let's go ahead and get him going and allow him to do what he does, but just do it at a lesser opportunity in yardage instead of the, intermediate game. He's more in the short game, and that's really helped give him that what I call him the chain mover. So that's why I love that. Number 2, Kayshon Boutte, 90% of the time he's outside, 32 first downs, average depth of target, 17, almost 18 yards. He's the splash play. He can get separation in a hurry. He comes up with the big catch. Drake May loves throwing him the football. He's made some spectacular catches, one-handed, adjusting, whether permitting, whether not permitting. That young man comes up with the football. And coming out of LSU, he had some interview things that happened that kind of allowed him to drop down. Then you go, it's a great read on off the NFL Players Association. Now, he talked about he was addicted to gambling.
Really?
In college. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And so it's a great article and just shows how he's working through some things, man. Congratulations to him. Now, Mack Hollins, right? Going for his second Super Bowl. He already earned one with the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Outside 71% of the time, 30 first downs. Average depth of target, 13.5. His intermediate route game is 80% of what he does. They trust him to make the critical catch, right? Going across the middle. We saw it last week when he, in the bad weather, been able to double catch, when he's not wearing shoes, right? When he's not wearing shoes, he's walking to the stadium. When he puts on a pair of cleats, you're going to get the best. He's high energy, fight through, contested catches, whatever you need Mack to do, he's going to do it. He's understood how to maintain employment in his league, and he's a great example of that. Now,
good blocker, too.
Good blocker. Pop Douglas. Pop is, I think he's 80% in the slot. Average depth of target, 10 yards. So he's more the gadget guy. 18 first downs. He's going to get you what you need, but that's why I say he's the third 3B wide receiver. He's going to get you. But can we really can he consistently win the one-on-one matchups? You're going against Seattle Seahawks, where if you can't get off of the line of scrimmage or you can't really get any separation, that's not going to vote well for you, because those guys are going to attach to you. They're going to grab until the referees tell them to stop. Great philosophy. Mike McDonald knows and says, hey, you do exactly what you're allowed until the referee tells you otherwise. So breaking it down, I'm just really interested what this game actually turns out to, because I don't think it's going to be just as simple, Diggs is going to catch his pass, Kayshon Boutte is going to catch his. I think it's going to be a ton of chess matches going on and a lot of new wrinkles for both offensive coordinators to try to figure out what's the best plan of action, and how can we make them believe we're running this play, but add a new wrinkle that makes it an explosive play.
Yeah, that's a great point. And we know that's what Josh has done in the postseason in years past and over the years. It's just going to be something looked like this all year, and now it's going to look like that, but they're going to run something completely different out of it. My couple 2 cents before we go on these guys. One is I know the Bills have been kind of kicking themselves because there was this change from Stefon Diggs when he went down to Houston, and he was outstanding, I was told, in that locker room. Remember, suffers the ACL injury while he's down there, but a guy that has kind of known where he's at in his career, Steve, maybe has been a little reluctant to do certain things in the past, maybe a little combative about in some people's minds in the past. Right now, the New England Patriots, and this started in Houston, have a player that is like, I'll go in the slot, I'll move the chains, I'll find the hole in the zone, I'll do all these different things for you, and it's been very beneficial as part of this receiving group. The other one is with Boutte. He's got 144 passer rating between him and Drake May on deep balls down the field. That is unbelievable. That's the guy I'm told that Drake trusts more than anybody down the field to throw the football in terms of deep shots. And my understanding is New England believes they need to, Steve, and I'm curious what you think, connect on at least a handful of explosive plays, or else they may not have a shot in this game. And that's the way they've lived, I'm not speaking out of turn, most of the season.
Listen, with Rose Sparks, you ain't never got to get ready because they allow you to stay ready. As you become older, hey, I'm older too. And I'm also single now. So being older and being single, there's a little bit of getting back on the scene and afraid that you won't be able to perform to your excellence. So I got an opportunity to make sure that I stay ready. Got to roll with me anytime the way it comes in. Roll does an excellent job of connecting you with a medical provider, and it comes straight to your door. No having to wait in line or to drive anywhere. You just sit at home, prepare, get ready, and then you can stay ready because Roll will be delivering straight to your door. If prescribed, new sexual health patients get $15 off their first order of Sparks on a recurring plan. Connect with a provider at ro.co/89 to find out if prescription Roll Sparks are right for you. That's ro.co/89 for $15 off the first order. Sparks is a compounded drug product. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. For safety information, go to ro.co/safety info. You watch Seattle's defense, that's a great observation. They're gonna get after you. They're gonna get after you with a 4-man rush, right? And you talk about and then the Campbell situation at left tackle. How is that going to evolve? What is that going to look like? It was problematic in this game, right? And it was problematic in the Houston game. Yep. So in the playoffs, the reason why it's rearing its head is competition is better, right? And the competition also has the whole season to look at to be able to exploit, expose, and also isolate how you can create a one-on-one matchup against a shorter armed length DN that can get off with great explosion like we saw last week with Nick Benito
and Will Anderson the week before.
It was Will Anderson. So it's becoming really interesting. So one little token though on Campbell that I thought is interesting.
Oh.
Is he a candidate? We know what he drafted, Matt, and that's where he drafted. Do you switch him to guard?
I was sliding him in the line, if you could tell.
You put him in at guard because at some point, man, the lack of length is going to show up. T. Sizzle told me when I was in Baltimore, they had drafted a kid, and they were like, man, he just doesn't have the length. And because he doesn't have the length, he's never really going to really learn how to master being an edge rusher in a 3-4 because he just doesn't have the length. And so I just remember, and he broke that down to me, and I was just like, wow. Especially, obviously, me being a wide receiver, not being a prototype wide receiver, I just kind of think, well, you could just will your way through anything. You go to the right system.
That's what I did.
Right
That's what Steve says.
Right? That's what I've done.
Yeah.
But it's not always the case. At some point, the measurables really do come into factoring and base and really kind of fixes or tells on your performance because of the lack of stature that you have or the lack of those prototype measurables that don't exist on you.
The last point I want to make on this before we go, and just because it stands out to me, and when I was at that AFC title game talking to guys on New England side of things, you have one offense that's predicated off of one player, and I'm kind of curious, in big moments, it oftentimes is going to be just Jaxon, Smith-Njigba, and how do we scheme him open. The thing that New England really hangs their hat on, and I'm kind of curious as a receiver about how you feel about a room built this way, is they really do feel like they can go to Diggs or Pop or Boutte or Hollins in a big moment at any point in the game.
Yeah,
The scheme can get. They've done it, right? How different is that, right? It's very different philosophies we can do, and that's why I also find this breakdown really, really interesting, because they'll go to anybody in a big moment. Anybody.
Well, man, it's a Super Bowl. Everybody's
They're all
ready
big
for
moments.
that big moments.
They're all big
right?
moments.
So,
but you gotta have it moments, third and long, whatever it is,
But that's the thing, because you've gotten here, everybody's expected and understand and prepare, especially with these coaching staffs. They're not sitting there going, hey, I know this is the role you've played. Expect to play that role. Do not think that you will. Nothing will be asked of you more. Yes, it will be. We need what do they say? All hands on deck. Right?
53
clear
guys,
mind,
man.
clear heart. Let's go out there with a common goal. Everything you do today matters. Understand, there's no tomorrow. I remember in the Super Bowl 2003 when I went, I remember sitting in the offensive meeting room, and Dan Henney said this, and it did not even register.
Really?
But he said it. He goes, look around. And, people kind of like, okay. He said, no.
Sure, Coach.
Look around. Break your neck. Look at everybody around here. Take a mental picture of every single offensive player in this room. And remember, a year from now, 2 years from now, hell, 3 years from now, half of you guys will not be in here. And the question isn't going to be because you wasn't good enough. The question is, because you helped us win, because you've contributed to helping us get to the Super Bowl, that you're going to get other opportunities. There will be just some changes. And so because of that, the coaches know it. There's going to be some changes. And let's give these guys an opportunity to make a play, but also let's get the best out of them. There's no next year.